Hey YouTube, Alan back with another video, and today we're going to be talking about Streets of Rage 4. So, sort of topical for me, which is a nice change. Anyway, for those that don't know, Streets of Rage, and watching this channel, who doesn't, Streets of Rage is one of the classic Sega Mega Drive kind of series. Sega haven't done a follow-up in 25 years, believe it or not. Like, it kind of is like one of those things that just blows your mind when you consider how big it was. But for just a quick refresher, back in the day, Final Fight was a big thing. Sega didn't answer. Capcom exclusive license with Nintendo. So Sega had to create their own game, and they created Streets of Rage 1. Streets of Rage 1 don't have a standalone copy, so Mega Game 6, that's got to stand in. By the way, Mega Game 6, talk about a lineup. Golden Axe, Streets of Rage, Revenge of Shinobi Super, Hang On Columns, World Cup, Italia 90. Less about that one, but what a package. Anyway, Streets of Rage, in many ways, one-upped Final Fight in the SNES. Maybe the sprites weren't as big and so on, but more content, two-player, and absolutely amazing music. You know, really was a great answer. And for people that own a Mega Drive back then, and you're trying to have something to kind of show off to your SNES-owning friends, it was a great ammunition, I guess, for that console war crap. But Sega weren't done. Success, you know, they needed a sequel, and by God did they get a sequel. Streets of Rage 2. Now this is a sequel. Literally improved on every single thing on the first game. The graphics, wow. For a 16-bit game, you know, I think they say somewhere on the cartridge size, but they massively increased the cartridge size. Sprites are much bigger, more sprites on screen. Better looking than Final Fight, in my opinion. This game, still going with me. Battered to hell, still going strong. And I still play it regularly. And any version I can get of Streets of Rage 2 is a classic. And back, I believe it was in 1994, we got the final game, what was the final game in the series, Streets of Rage 3. And surprisingly, after the first two games, Axel's not on the cover. When did we get this? In 1994. So this is a bit more controversial in terms of, they kind of changed up a little bit of the formula, a bit more experimental in terms of music. But the biggest problem for me is the difficulty in the Western release is wow. They've basically notched difficulty up one versus the Japanese version. So Bare Knuckle 3, Japanese version, is much better. But anyway, that's our quick little history tour. Really what we want to talk about is Streets of Rage 4, which came out a couple of weeks ago on Switch, PlayStation Network, and Xbox One, whatever their online stores. I got the Switch version just because it was on sale or something, you know, so I said, may as well jump in and get it. I was tempted to go for the limit run physical edition because, you know, physical copies, but you'd have to wait, and to be honest, I kind of wanted to get in and play it. The previews initially last year, the teaser trailer and whatnot, I wasn't too sure. But the graphical style, the gameplay, you know, are they really going to do it justice? I'm pleased to say, right off the bat, that they clearly, Guard Crush Games, Dotty Mew, Lizard Studio, whoever it was again, they have done. Let's find out. Not options. Well, that's loading. The guys have done a great job. There we go. We can go to credits. They managed to capture that feel, the physicality within the game. So in Streets of Rage 2, the best part about that game for me is literally it kind of feels that you're actually punching an enemy. There's great tactile response, despite the fact there's no force feedback or anything like that. And they've done a great job in capturing that feel. They've managed to. It is very much based on Streets of Rage 2 in terms of format, formula, and kind of style, more than say 1 or 3. But there's no harm with that. Like Streets of Rage 2 is the classic, I would say, of the series. I know some people like 3 because it evolved a few things, but I think by and large, Streets of Rage 2 is considered the best. You know, they have the star moves, they have the more advanced combat, the same combos, and they have 2 of the same characters, and then 2 similar characters to Max and Adam. Was Adam the wrestler? I think he was. From Streets of Rage 2. So they've kind of used that template, used that formula. I was a little worried, as I said, about the graphics, but definitely the refined version in the final release is a lot nicer. They've kind of toned the characters into the backgrounds a lot better, and some of the themes are quite well done. They now have story segments between each level. I'm not the biggest fan of the story. I think it's a bit but to be fair, I mean, it's a beat 'em up game. You don't need the best story in the world. It's go from A to B, punch guys. What more do you like? Um, Now, I was a bit skeptical as well because I'm thinking, is there really a market for this type of game today? Streets of Rage 2, you can clear it in like 30, 40 minutes. Most of those games are off that length. And I was kind of thinking, well, if they're going to do something similar with Streets of Rage 4, how are they going to make it worth your while in today's term? How are they going to compete with modern games? To be honest, if they brought a Streets of Rage 2 and they charged £25 for it, and it was as good as it is, if I'd never played it before, it would be worth £25. So I tried to keep that in mind because I played that again and again and again. It's all about replayability, and they've kind of gone for that with Streets of Rage 4. It very much is about you're going to replay the game over and over and over. And I've actually cleared it 4 times now with Axel, Blaze, Cherry, and the big guy. I can't remember his name. I haven't done Adam, and then you can unlock the kind of retro characters as you're playing, which is actually a good incentive to keep playing, keep getting score. And when I talk about score, it's a good segue. Score is probably the area where they have tweaked up the formula. And I've heard some people say, oh, there's no innovation. There hasn't been an entry in 25 years. To be honest, I actually don't need that much innovation. I'm happy to just get another damn game. But there actually is some innovation. For a start, they have a little bit more level variety that we haven't seen in a little while. They've done, more moving kind of segments, plane rides and stuff like that, and trains, and that was kind of nice. It kind of leaned a bit on Street Rage 3 stuff and evolved it. But then they have this new combo system. So as you're kind of hitting enemies, you build up combos, and the more combos you get, the more score you get. And score becomes important because it's the only way to get lives. And it is old school in the fact that the game uses lives, and it's hard. I've been playing on easy so far because of the initial reviews I've seen were saying this is actually a hard game. And they're not kidding. If I said, I'm going to have to build up and get more experience, more confidence before I jump on, because even on easy, which in Street Rage 2, I will just walk through that game, even on normal, without much hassle at all. You probably won't lose a life until right near the end of the game. But no, the first time I played this, it was actually a challenging game on easy, and I died quite a few times. So it is quite challenging, and you do need to build up the score using the combo system. But it has a second impact. Normally in Street Rage 2, you have the A button move, which gives you this kind of either screen kind of helps you clear people out or does more damage. But the counter to that is that it drains some of your health. So you kind of want to limit how much you use it. Street Rage 3 had a bar that filled up, so that was actually a nice little tweak. In Street Rage 4, what they've done is when you use that move, you temporarily lose health, but if you manage to make a combo against enemies just after it, you will regain the health. So it's kind of a risk-reward mechanism, and it's a very interesting way of kind of using that. Now, I still try and avoid those moves because, you still are putting yourself in risk, but it's a nice change, and I think it's good to try something different in that area. They also added these star power moves, which, to be honest, I haven't found them very useful, and more to the point, if you want to get a higher score, you don't want to use your star power, so I tend to avoid them. Plus, I believe the retro characters don't have them, so it's probably good to kind of, not get too reliant on them. What else is there? Oh yeah, so we talked about graphics. Audio presentation. Audio is a very big thing in Streets of Rage. I didn't mention, but the soundtrack in Streets of Rage 1 and 2 are absolutely immense. They're best of their genre, best of their generation nearly, and we really have to thank Yuzo Koshiro for adding so much to the general feel of the franchise. Even in number 3, which is much more experimental, we do get a lot of that feel of Streets of Rage. Now, Streets of Rage 4 has some music from Yuzo Koshiro, but it's not entirely done by him, so there's other contributors to the soundtrack, and it's all good. This is a little bit darker, so it's finished, that's why it's gone dark. It's good, but it's not brilliant. It's nothing wrong, I enjoy playing it, and you can play retro music if you want in the game, but tellingly, even though I've played it 4 times now, I actually haven't switched on the retro music yet. So it is decent music. Some of it's good. It just isn't of that amazing level of Street Rage 1 or 2. And that kind of, it can sound like a criticism. The music, it's not that great. It's good music. It's just not as good as some of the other music. Ashley obviously disagrees with me because she really must like the music in Street Rage 4. Anyway, Oh, there you go. I finished. No, I'm not going to edit it out. I was going to pause that and edit it out, but I'm not going to edit it out. Back onto music. It's definitely worth listening to, and it's kind of trying to get over that kind of, oh, I happen to love Streets Rage 2 and whatnot, so I'm drawn to that music. But it is good. Just don't expect to be blown away in the same way you might have been with 1 and 2. So what else is there? We talked about the gameplay. We talked about a lot of the kind of level styles and stuff like that. There's a nice bit of variety. I will say perhaps it's a tad long, just for playing in one session. It's a difficult compromise because you take something like Monster Boy, where that tried to, almost like take on, if you take Wonder Boy 3, The Dragon's Trap, and you take Monster Boy as like a spiritual successor to that type of formula, Wonder Boy 3 is relatively short, a few hours game. And that's an adventure game. So they've taken Monster Boy to be 20, 25 hours. It's a long game. Streets Rage 4 is an hour and a half, 2 hours maybe your first playthrough. So it's not that long. But it is quite a bit longer than, say, Streets Rage 2, which you do in one sitting. And I go back to all the time because you can just jump in, play for half an hour, 40 minutes, and poof, you're done. You've kind of had a good experience. It's kind of borderline whether it's maybe too long, but also not long enough to feel like a big adventure. I wasn't too sure about that, but as I've played a few times, yeah, I'm kind of digging it. And also, you have level select, so you can do stage select, so you can actually, go back and pick each level and practice on the level. So that's nice. My biggest complaint really though is I don't think the difficulty balance is great. There are a few points in the game where it spikes quite badly, and you'll get like a room full of Galcias, or as I used to call them, Garcias, because I think they were Garcias over here. And they all have knives on you, and they'll just pummel you if you get hit once, because it'll kind of like snowball effect, and you can easily lose a life from full health in no time. And you've kind of scenarios like that where you will go from no health pickups for a while, and then you'll get a bundle of them just with nothing around, and it's like, geez, what's all this health now? So there's a few areas, or even the bosses, like Max the wrestler, he's the guy from Street Rage. It's Max. Adam is Street Rage 1. Oh, I'm getting all confused. Max was a lot tougher than some of the bosses after him, I felt. And I think there was a few others where, you kind of go up and, oh God, I think Barbon from Street Rage 2, he really appears, and he's quite hard. He's harder than Shiva. Shiva's not that hard. So there's kind of up and down, and even some of the levels, some of them are quite short, and you'll be done in 5 minutes, and others are 15 minutes, so it does vary quite a bit in terms of difficulty, and I think it could have done with smoothing out. In terms of what I'd like to see moving forward, it'd be nice if there was DLC, maybe some more levels, maybe some more characters, stuff like that. Apparently they tried to get Shinobi into this, and I think that would have been a nice reference. There is a few references to Shinobi and to other properties. There's some retro references too that are kind of a nice little thing to add and find. But really, I think they've done a good job in presenting a package that is representative of a Streets of Rage experience. Is it as good as some of the classics? Maybe not. I'd have to play and live with it more and see will I come back to it in 6 months, a year, 2 years, 5 years, 25 years. 25 years later, still playing this every year, multiple times. Will I be playing Street Rage 4 multiple times down the line in 2040? That's really hard to say. It's a good game, and I do think it's worth it, and I think the guys have put a lot of care and attention, and effort into it, so I do think it's worth supporting, and I'd like to see Sega do more of these things. And with Monster Boy, Wonder Boy, Sonic Mini, we are seeing a lot of these properties. I know not all of them are done by Sega, but we're seeing more of them come back in a way with a lot more care, and I definitely want to see that continue. I want to make a video on that because I think it's a whole separate topic, but for Street Rage 4, I do think it's worth the price of admission, so long as you know what you're getting into. You're getting a 2-hour experience that they expect you to replay with the different characters to try and improve your score and improve your score on each level and things like that, and to play co-op and stuff like that. So you have to know what you're getting into, and if you know that, I think you'll enjoy it, and in that way I would recommend it. If you're going to play it once, I'd wait for a bigger sale, to be honest. That's the way it boils down to. You might not get the value out of it. Anyway, hope you enjoyed. I'll see you in another video soon. Bye for now.